Yo guys, what's up? It's Cherry here, coming at you guys with CGT round one of the tournament since I didn't get in through the Champions route. And yeah, I'm here. I finally found my camera battery charger, and I actually have a stable cord, so I'm here, guys. But I'm going to be post commentating this game, and the reason being is because my commentary was all over the place, which is kind of funny when you think about it, but it was all over the place. If I can, I'll put a clip of it here.
Is he Magic Guard? He is. Is he Magic Guard? He is.
Is he Magic Guard? He is.
Wait, what happened to Future Sight? Does it not work with Magic Guard? Wait, am I missing something? It doesn't matter. Zygarde comes in and clicks arrows. It doesn't matter. Does it not work with Magic Guard? Am I stupid? Magic Guard is attacking moves. I think I might be misclicking turns. Okay, let's calm down. Let's breathe. You're okay.
So yeah, I can look at this battle through a whole different lens now after knowing my opponent's sets and just analyzing it a different way, which I really, really like. So, um, for the live commentator version, Kiwi, my opponent, will probably post it. Shout out to him. But yeah, so if you guys enjoy Draft League content and battles and my beautiful, gorgeous face, then you can always leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new. Road to 300 has been a thing for a while, and hopefully I can reach that before the end of this year. So, with that being said, I'm going to transition over to the CGT screen or the full screen of my battle. Yo guys, what's up? It's Cherry here, coming at you guys with round one of the CGT, the Champions of Galar Tournament today, and it's going to be post-com, as I said a little earlier, but today I'm going to be showcasing the battle against Kiwi, coach of the Team Tempest, and when I tell you that the match was... Whew. First of all, I'll put the team on the matchup, or not team on the matchup. I'll put the matchup on the screen now. It was pretty much a mirror. Well, by pretty much, it was two mons, but the two mons that was mirror was the most important. And then on top of that, he had hail as well, which literally demolished my team. So in prep, I'm sitting here like, okay, this, that, and the third, and then hail comes in a mock, and I'm like, I gotta wipe my entire team, and this, that, and the other, and it was just a lot going on. So it was a pretty rough matchup for me, I will say. However, I did have some outs, and I was just really nervous. Like, I felt like I did everything I could to make it into the CGT, only to not make it, which sucked. But it, hey, it happens. So as you guys can see, I have Choice Bandit, Zygarde, Choice Bandit, Zygarde, Resto, Chesto, Melmetal, Safety Goggles, Togekiss, Power Herb, Nihi, Twisted Spoon, Azelf, and Rocky Helmet, Stunfisk. So I can go a little bit in depth of each set here. So Choice Bandit Zygarde literally went in. The only thing that it did not 2-hit KO or OHKO was Fizdef Clefable. Fizdef Clefable actually has a chance to get 2-hit KO'd, but the chance is like 10%. So it's kind of like not really worth it to go for. But everything else kind of just gets straight up O-code, especially on this team, O-code or 2-hit KO. The only thing that gets 2-hit KO'd, I believe, is Zygarde, and then if screens are up, everything else. So it kind of went in, to be honest. Resto, Chesto, Melmetal was specifically my Arctazol check, as well as trying to function for my Ninetales pivot. Then we have Togekiss. Safety Goggles was meant to really make Togekiss ignore hail and be my switch in to Zygarde. I originally was lefties, however, I literally could not because of hail putting me in range of a roll. But here we are. I'll go a little bit. I'll show the sets on screen as this goes, but here we have Melmetal against Azov, and I opt to click U-turn, which I still agree with to this day because I have a Stunfisk that was kind of meant for Drapion that did not come, so kind of worked out in my favor. But here I'm going to pivot into Stunfisk, its Rocky Helmet, and then from here I can scout and see if the Melmetal is protective pads, and if it is, that's really good information to know, because he clicked Double Iron Bash, which is free on his part. That's not really a bad play at all. But I take quite a bit of damage, which from this damage I realized that it's max attack, so I'm like, okay, that's a little scary. But you see how much damage Melmetal took, like, it's kind of insane. He could click Earthquake. I'm running speed on my Stunfisk, so I don't know, he might fear that I'm running speed. But I just decided to opt to get my rocks up because rocks to me are really important. It's really important to me to get rocks up so that I can whittle down that Ninetales so that it can't really come in all the time, thus limiting his hail. So he switches on Melmetal into Zygarde, which is fine play, because Earthquake could come out, Earth Power could come out, Discharge, it covers that play. Toxic would have come out because it's a Melmetal, unless I'm making a prediction, which honestly wasn't needed. But I get my rocks up, which is really, really good, and they're essentially for free because I have a Togekiss that can always pivot into this thing. Banded 1,000 Arrows does not 2-hit KO me. Banded Adamant does not 2-hit KO me. Like at all, so I'm not really worried about it. He clicks sub, so I'm like, okay, it's like sub coil or something. Like, now I'm really not scared of it, because if it toxics me or glares me, then I have heal bell, and then coil +1 arrows. I'm not 2-hit KO'd because that's the same thing as Choice Banded, but he reveals to be subtoxic and he misses, which I'd argue did not matter, because otherwise I would have broke his sub and he probably would have switched out into maybe Melmetal or Ninetales, and then I was going to click Heal Bell anyway. So it really, in my opinion, did not matter to me. So there's that. I'm predicting a switch out into Melmetal, so I'm like, I kind of want to get off a little bit of chip on the Melmetal, and especially because it's not Assault Vest, I can do a decent amount of damage. However, he pivots into Ninetales, so I'm like, okay, if this thing is like defensive, max HP, then you're taking a lot of damage, and then that's better for me because unless you have Defog on Rotom, you can't get rid of these rocks. And as you guys can see, it can't come in on rocks anymore, so I'm like, this is amazing for me because now I can pivot into Melmetal, which was my original like Ninetales. The Melmetal is my Hail Core answer. That's why I had to be Resto Chesto, because I had to cover so much. But Veil gets set up, which I expected. Now, I click Body Press because Ninetales is in range of Rock, so I didn't think he would switch, and if he did, then I automatically assumed that Rotom was Defog. I also clicked Body Press so that if it's Rocky Helmet Rotom, I don't take a lot of chip, which chip would not be nice because Melmetal is my soft check to the Hail Core. But as you guys can see, he is lefties and not Rocky Helmet. So I'm like, okay, cool. And also, looking at it now, that Body Press, even through Veil, did too much. I think in the battle, I immediately assumed it was Fizzed out, totally disregarding that he set a Veil up. So from this, I realized that it's offensive. It's offensive Rotom, which is crazy. But I decided to pivot out into my Zygarde because that's what I did in mocks all the time. And he clicks Nasty Plot. And that scared me. Like, I was like, holy. Like, I'm pretty Spidaf. But depending on how offensive he is, he might just straight up kill me with the Hydro Pump. So I'm sitting there like, well, let's pray. Let's hope I live. And he misses. Now, I don't want to be this type of player, but down the line, I don't really think it mattered, but it was really unfortunate. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it put me in a phenomenal position. It did. But Rotom dies through Veil. That's also another sign that it's offensive. But he goes into Arctazol here, and I'm like, okay, I shouldn't think about this. Melmetal is literally here for this. And I stand corrected because Arctazol is powerful. Low kick, literally 2-hit KOs. And I'm sitting here like, huh? Excuse me? So I'm like, I can't even save this thing. Like, I'm thinking about maybe I could save this to get a rest off on something. And I'm like, no, because maybe the Melmetal outspeeds me. Like, I literally, there's nothing I can really do. I was thinking about maybe I can go into Zygarde on the aggressive, and then on the aggressive I can go into and like stall out Hail. No, it's not worth it. Melmetal could outspeed me, which spoilers, we sped tied later on after finding out his sets. But Melmetal could outspeed me, and everything else outspeeds me. And Clef kills me at this range. So literally, there is no reason for me to save this Melmetal. I don't know why I was debating it for so long, but there is no reason for me to save this. It does nothing here. But he goes for Bolt Beak, which is a fair play, and he kills off my Arctazol check. Allegedly, my Arctazol check that got 2-hit KO'd. But yeah, first time using Melmetal. That's great. But here we are. There's one more turn of Hail, and I feel like I have to be pretty aggressive here because I don't really want to sack anything. Maybe I could have sacked my Azelf, to be fair, but I kind of wanted to bait him out. I kind of wanted to bait him into clicking like Icicle Crash on something, and because he couldn't click Bolt Beak in the face of this, Low Kick wasn't going to do a lot, and it wasn't going to do a lot to Azelf anyway, so he needs to go into this. Or I go into Azelf predicting that he's going to click Crash, which he does. And I lift the hit, which is phenomenal. And Hail goes away. And because Hail went away and he has no defog or hazard removal, then it can't go back up. So I click Psychic because Psychic is free for me. If he goes into Melmetal, I can always Fire Blast. If he goes into like Zygarde, then I can Future Sight and then pivot into Togekiss. Like, I wasn't really worried, but what shocked me is he went Clefable, which is the one thing that doesn't get 2-hit KO'd. And it's also not Magic Guard. It is unaware. So that means that I 2-hit KO'd this thing on switch in. So that's like really good information to know. Also, from the Psychic, I should have, in the battle, I did not realize this, but from that Psychic, it is Spadef. It is not Fizzef. So realistically, Zygarde would have just 2-hit KO'd everything, which is kind of crazy to think about. But here I click Future Sight because I feel like it's a no drawback play. I don't need Azelf. Azelf was kind of meant to go down like turn 1 or 2. So it still being here is really nice. But I get off a Future Sight and he goes for Teleport. So I'm like, okay. I feel like you're forced to go Melmetal here because Melmetal resists my Future Sight here, or you could go Ninetales and sack. That's also another option. I actually don't remember what he does here, but I think sacking Ninetales is probably in your best interest. It dies to rocks and it does nothing here, and also you stall out a turn of Future Sight if you need it. So yeah, he sacks Ninetales. So okay, cool. Ninetales goes down. That's a kill for Stunfisk, and yeah, so free kill. But Clefable comes back in, and I just click Psychic because I'm like, Psychic is free. Like, what can you do? So, and Moonblast comes off, does a lot. Now, something that I still don't understand is, where was the Future Sight? Maybe the Teleport into the Ninetales counted as one move. Or no, you know what? It's after 2 turns. So this turn, if I don't kill Clefable, then it's gonna kill it. So okay, now that makes sense. Because in the battle, I'm sitting here like, where's the Future Sight? Yeah, no, this is why I don't use Future Sight. No, this is why I don't do it. But yeah, I can go freely into Zygarde, click Banded Arrows. Nothing really switches in. Ninetales is gone. Arctofish is still alive, but there's no Hail. Zygarde is still there, and I believe something else is still there that hasn't really made an appearance. Oh, Melmetal. Melmetal is still there. So I'm sitting here like, well, if you're Sugarberry, you're Sugarberry. And I might need to scout for that. Because if you are Sugarberry, then that could be bad for me because I lose Zygarde for free. So I pivot into my Stunfisk because I should go into Stunfisk. Thank you. I go to my Stunfisk because Stunfisk was specifically meant for this thing and nothing else. So I don't need to sacrifice HP in order to do what my Stunfisk was meant to do, which was check this thing. So he clicks Ice Punch, which is fair play, and he takes more Rocky Helmet Chip, which is nice. You guys are going to find out that I actually outspeed him, so my speed investment put in work. The Earth Power didn't necessarily kill, but the Ice Punch recoil from Rocky Helmet will, which is really nice. So I essentially trade my Melmetal answer for Melmetal, so good in my book. But here, I feel like I make arguably a misplay. I probably should have pivoted into Nihilego here because his only two Pokemon left are Zygarde and Arctozolt, and Arctozolt literally demolishes 2 out of 3 of my 6, and I'm essentially forced to make a sack in that scenario. So I was too blindsided that Zygarde could probably come in, when in reality he doesn't really need Arctovish anymore because Hail is gone. So now, because I pivoted into 2 out of 3 of the things on my team that is weak to an Icicle Crash, I now need to sack to it so I can freely bring in Nihilego rather than being able to bring it in for free earlier. So definitely a misplay on me. Diff doesn't really matter in this tournament, like at all. So I guess it's like me playing it safe, you could argue, but I still think going Nihi was safe because if Zygarde came in, then I could just freely go into Togekiss, no problem, and just sit there. So he goes for Icicle Crash, and Zygarde unfortunately has to go down because I literally could have just went Nihi. Nihi covered for the one thing that really demolished the rest of my 6. So speaking of Nihi, Nihi comes out here, and I was thinking to myself, do I risk the Meteor Beam? And that is the worst, absolute worst thought in my mind that entire game. Other than the, oh my god, is that Magikarp? Is that Magikarp Clefable? Why didn't the Future Cycle up? Like, why would I risk the Meteor Beam there? Like, because if I missed and he has Stomping Tantrum, then I lost the game. So, But yeah, Dazzling Gleam is free on this thing. I don't need to save this. Differential does not matter. So I can literally click D-Gleam. I don't need to predict. Like, it's whatever, honestly. And it does a lot of damage, and he clicks arrows and he kills me. So I'm like, okay, fair, because Togekiss literally walls the heck out of this thing, and there is no move, even crit Iron Tail, there is no move that can one-shot me from full, because I'm literally sitting at full. So that's pretty much GG's. It was a really stressful game, really intense game. And honestly, Addison said this to me after the game, and I kind of agree. I think my team carried, and I think that's one of the things that I really want to work on is my battling skill. That's something that I've been wanting to work on for forever, and because I know my prep will carry. I know my prep will be good. I know it will. I just want to make sure that I can execute well with my prep. So I've been working on that, and I've been seeing a little bit of improvement, which is good. I mean, obviously I won a league and I'm pretty consistent now, which is good, but it's only up from here. So if you guys did enjoy that post-com, then let me know. And how do you guys like the layout? I need to do it more. I need to do face cam more. Like, I'm just so lazy, and child, I'm so burned out from the school year. Like, it's not even funny. But yeah, that's going to be the CGT game against Kiwi. And with that being said, I'm gonna get the heck up out of here, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye bye.